What's going on, y'all? It's Wes, and welcome to the CUP Ringside, where you get the best seat in the house to everything wrestling. It's just me today. What's up? How y'all feeling? I am back from a sweet vacation to North Carolina, and I'm back. Just gotten to watch this week's Raw, and for all those who missed, all those who didn't, want to know my take, want to be up to date, well, it's all here, and glad to see you guys. Also, real quick before we get into things, if you're watching this vid, you've probably watched some other ones. If this is your first vid, though, there's some plenty more to watch. If you want SmackDown coverage, if you want NXT coverage, we got you. Pay-per-views, everything in check. Just, hit us with a quick subscribe, hit us with a like. We always appreciate it. But, shilling out of the way, although, the cup is great, so you should come here more often. We got to get into Raw. And, of course, we were expecting, because, anyone who didn't watch last week or didn't get to catch everything from last week, Drew McIntyre quit. All right. That's at least what he said. Well, we were expecting some unique way to open up Raw today after what happened last week with the Wyatt Six. But when we opened, here walks right past Michael Cole in the camera, Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre starts yapping. So, I'm feeling right back at home. This is just another Monday Night Raw. We've got McIntyre back. He is complaining, but takes a pivot, because he is not just complaining, as my little thing says here. He isn't just saying, oh, what could be, woe is me. He says, look at last week. Look what happened on SmackDown, because, of course, he showed up there and put CM Punk in a stretcher, and he was gloating about it, y'all. He was saying that I hope you know that you're alone. I'm glad you're in pain, and I'm glad you're miserable. And he held nothing back. Evil Drew is crazy, and the man hates CM Punk, and I have never seen a man so happy to see a man go home in a stretcher. Was another crazy, promo for Drew. Some great heel work still going on, but it was another Drew promo to open up Raw. And, I can't be mad, but I was expecting maybe this would be the 1 week we get away with having a non-Drew opening up Raw, but not this time, baby. No. Drew might not be that heavyweight championship, but he is opening up Raw like he is. But we then move on and we transition to the Judgment Day back there. We've got Damian and the rest, but Damian walks in on the entire Judgment Day playing some 2K, some wrestling on a PS5 they didn't have, eating some chicken nuggets that they didn't have. Damian's like, what are we doing? Everyone's like, these are the gifts from Liv Morgan. So things get intense, because not only do we get all these gifts, we get a PS5, 2K, and chicken nuggies. Dominic Mysterio gets some photo. You can kind of take your own interpretation on what it is. Kind of, I guess, a nice photo, a generous photo being sent to Dom, and Liv is still at it. Liv is still trying to seduce that man, Daddy Dom, as he is now. Dom, or of course, Damian is having none of it, having absolutely none of it. Put down the games. Y'all can't even deal with Braun Strowman. Why are you playing 2K? Go and, deal with it. And so, of course, they all vow that this is going to be the week that Braun Strowman doesn't run them all over. We'll see how that goes. But, again, Liv just keeps working her way in. Of course, Carlito thinks it's cool. Carlito be thinking everything's cool, but especially Liv Morgan, and it's hard. It's so hard to blame him, y'all, because it's Liv Morgan. She kind of showing up, and Rhea ain't here right now. Okay, this is the Liv time. And they move past that segment into our first match of the day. Spilling some blood earlier on, or at least trying to make up for some blood spilled earlier on. Ludwig Kaiser is going to be fighting, and we're going to be seeing that match. And it's going to be, it's supposed to be like the traditional like blood feud type thing. I'm not going to hold your hand through it. It was a good match. Ludwig is very good. Completely interrupted though. The match is 2/3 of the way through with Braun Breaker. He's doing his thing. We're getting spears galore, very athletic men. Very excited to see where the match is going to go. I was expecting to get a stellar classic from this, and we were about to. But shame-o. When Ludwig Kaiser is about to do something pretty crazy, comes in, hits him with a good knee, with the new kneecapping move, and completely disqualifies yet again another match. And this is then the second match that Braun Breaker has not been able to finish. The first was with Sheamus and got disqualified because of Ludwig Kaiser. And then this is now the second match where Braun Breaker tried to have a match, and it was with Ludwig Kaiser, and it was disrupted by Sheamus. And so continuing, Braun Breaker cannot just have a match, and he gets mad and eventually ends up spearing Sheamus for interrupting for him. And the match ends there with a bunch of squabbling, a bunch of yapping, but most importantly, three men very upset with each other. And I am hoping we are going to see the triple threat soon, because that triple threat is going to be awesome. And it kind of looks like what they're building up to, but we'll see. And of course, then Braun immediately goes and takes off and does his favorite thing, which is complain. Goes right to our lovely GM, Adam Pearce, and walks up to him, starts absolutely screaming at the man. He's just trying to deal with everything that's going on in Monday Night Raw, and of course last week. So Adam's having none of it. He says he's going to try to figure some stuff out. And of course, Braun wants a match. He's like, I don't want just any match, though. I'm looking at Sami Zayn. I would already have had a title shot with Sami Zayn because of all the wins I deserve, but I haven't had that opportunity because none of my matches can go the distance because of these interferences. Just then, looks behind him. Oh, Sami Zayn. Well, just like all the title shots recently, a part of the WWE, he looks, he asks, he receives, because Sami immediately has no issue. You name the time, you name the place, we'll have our championship match. He says Money in the Bank, and it's locked in. So we are getting Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank. And that's got to be hype, y'all. That is max hype. Sami can make every match look like gold. He's in that Gunther tier where no matter what match Sami is in, he's always making everyone and every one of his opponents show up. Well, so is Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is a freak. He is a genetic freak and not normal, if he's anything like his dad. But we're going to get to see that match. It's going to be pretty fantastic, I'd imagine. So we're going to have to stay tuned for that. But it was a good segment, and we transitioned then over to a women's triple threat for the Money in the Bank. We had Kairi versus Lyra versus Shayna Baszler. Very, very good match. I was expecting maybe it to go a little longer. It didn't have the time that you'd expect on a 3-hour show, but everyone got to show up at the very least, and Lyra ended up taking that sweet W with the Nightwing, able to hit it kind of off of a little bit of disturbance, but we were expecting maybe are we going to be seeing Kairi and Io and everyone be a part of the Money in the Bank. Looks like Kairi's not going to be a part of it because Lyra is going to be. We'll see where Lyra goes, but I'm personally very excited to see what she can do at Money in the Bank. I can think of a few people of our contestants that are deserving of Money in the Bank, and I do think Lyra is one of them. She just got off, kind of like Carmelo Hayes, just off of NXT. A lot of bright potential, very bright future, been doing great work in the ring. Very excited to see where it all goes. But congrats to Lyra. Lyra, you did a great job. I know if Brooke were here, shout outs to Brooke. Brooke would probably be talking some Becky, Lyra. They're gonna keep winning nonsense, but I gotta keep it a buck 100. She deserved it. We then move back because we do these interludes now. Keeping up with the Judgment Day, truly on Raw, and we get one of those keeping up with the Judgment Days, and of course, not only we get Liv Morgan, she goes to the center of the ring and calls out Daddy Dom. And she wants to talk to him about the gifts, about the great many things that Liv's been doing, and she wants to give an extra personal gift in front of everyone to Dom. So we wait. We're going to be seeing Dominic come out. Just kidding, because interrupting Liv Morgan is Zelina Vega, who comes out, and they have an excellent promo, guys. Zelina stands on the position that she does not care about Dominic and some Dirty D. She just wants that other thing that Liv Morgan has, which is that women's championship, which Zelina said kind of felt like had been playing second fiddle, which I'm not going to lie, kind of has been, right? Because then the number one thing on Liv's mind has been Dirty Dom of recent. Liv calls it all nonsense. Liv's like, it doesn't matter. This is the most important thing happening to me. You know, this title is, I'm going to take everything. I was just also going to take Dom. And then, of course, Dom actually does show up, and they have an exchange. Long story short, Zelina is not having Dom. Dom tries to say, oh, I'll help you out if you guys are going to have a match, which it looks like it's building to. Dom kind of feels that. And Zelina wants no part of Rhea Ripley's sloppy seconds. And we get a sloppy seconds chant. It was quite funny. I'm glad to see Zelina on the mic, always killing it on the mic and in the ring when she gets to wrestle. And speaking of wrestle, it is now confirmed at the very end of this segment that at Money in the Bank, we are going to get to see Zelina Vega versus Liv Morgan for the Women's Championship. Listen, Zelina, or it might actually, excuse me, it might actually be next week on Raw. I actually don't know if it's not for Money in the Bank. Apologies. It's just next week on Raw, but it's a title shot. And for any of those Zelina Vega people, I'm a Zelina Vega person. I think she's great. I wish she was a part of Legado del Fantasma instead of the LWO because of how I feel about Rey Mysterio. But I'm very excited to see her getting an opportunity and a title shot. And maybe she can capitalize. I doubt it with how dominant Liv's being and how into the culture she is right now with the whole Dirty Dominic Mysterio line. But still, getting to see her on television, always a win. Went on for just a little bit longer. But then we got a great cut to none other than we kind of, following Liv. And she then, after the segment, approaches none other than our tag team champion, R-Truth. And she starts, talking, making the day, making time. And she's just talking about how much she's trying to impress Dominic. R-Truth is completely behind this because he loves love, y'all. He loves love. That's he said it multiple times. Like, I love love. I love seeing all this, for Dominic Mysterio, I'm very happy for you guys. Well, Liv is just like, well, would really impress him is if I could get you to do a title match tonight with the Judgment Day. Of course, R-Truth ain't having it because he is doing no favors for JD McDonough. But after some further convincing, Liv is able to convince him to maybe put it on the line. But, and this is where we'll pan to the very beginning of the night, because this is a very special night because Pat McAfee was not here. We don't know why, but we imagine it might be because of the Wyatt 6 attack. So far, all of tonight, we have had solo commentary by Michael Cole, and The Miz is there. No, he had good color, I guess. But The Miz was there. Well, The Miz is seeing this after we see that R-Truth is going to Joe find Adam Cole, or Adam Pearce, excuse me, to make the match official. We quickly pan back to The Miz. The Miz is furious. And we already only had basically 1.5 commentators with The Miz being there. We then are down to one commentator. Michael Cole stands alone as Miz completely ditches Michael Cole to go and try to find Adam Pearce first. And so in the back of everyone's minds, now it's like, who's going to find Adam Pearce first? Is the match going to be official? Are we going to see R-Truth get into another title match out of nowhere? And if so, when, and so Miz storms off, runs off, looking for a way of finding Adam Pearce, and we leave Michael Cole all alone. I could say that it's, played out a little bit, that R-Truth keeps accepting all these matches, but I'm not going to. I don't know. How do you guys feel? I've been loving this whole, like, R-Truth goes and tries to do it all. It takes in all the comers because he's, getting tricked either by fortune tellers or by Liv Morgan. I mean, I'd probably get tricked by Liv Morgan too. So I can't even blame them that much. We then immediately pivot back to Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. versus Chad Gable, which anyone who watched Wesley went, Chad Gable, what do you mean he's competing? Yeah, he's competing tonight, guys. They had a little segment about him having extra security at the very first few seconds of Raw, and it looks like he has a nasty injury still on his head, but he's not dead. So everyone on Twitter, calm down. He's not dead. He wasn't shot or anything like that. People on Twitter are crazy. But he instead is just injured, but is still medically cleared enough to be able to do competition tonight. And of course, he's Alpha Academy-less. So he comes out alone and delivers a pretty crazy prediction promo. And he says, I've already had to deal with some monsters backstage, talking, of course, about the Wyatt Six. He's like, now I'm going to have to deal with some monsters inside the ring. But I'm going to beat all these monsters. Then I'm going to win Money in the Bank. And I will not be Mr. Money in the Bank. I will be Master Money in the Bank. Not only does that happen, man goes out, starts getting destroyed by the other two monsters, but Judgment Day attacks Braun Strowman mid-match. Of course, this is a no DQ match. And he is able to find the better end of a brilliant moonsault against Bronson Reed. The 1-2-3 happens. Chad Gable predicts the future and is able to beat these two monsters in a match very stacked against him. And he is able to lock in his spot at Money in the Bank. I know I am personally down for Chad winning Money in the Bank. There are a lot of great contenders, including Andrade and many others. But of course, with the whole Chad and maybe Wyatt Six stuff now, Chad and the Alpha Academy, he's been great on TV, great in the match, great in the ring. I can only imagine if we get Master Money in the Bank. That's all I'm going to say. It looks like everything's going great for Chad. And it is. Until the lights turn off directly after this match. Smoke starts billowing into the ring. We hear that minor key on the piano just getting pressed over and over and over. We know that the Wyatt Six are inbound. But we don't see everybody. We only see one very twisted, warped, Sadako ring-looking girl. She starts crawling her way. Of course, we know that's Nikki Cross. But, whoever she is starts crawling out with her wet hair and mask and everything. Scares the living daylights out of Chad. Chad didn't see it coming. She crawled up right behind him. He runs out of the ring, pretty much. Starts trying to find a way out, but no one stops him. They aren't here for Chad because Chad just makes it out. None of the other Wyatt Six were even present. Instead, she quickly crawls to Michael Cole on solo commentary and hands him a package. Michael Cole takes said package. Apparently it was for Pat McAfee, but Pat McAfee, again, isn't there for some reason. And we see Michael Cole open it. Inside, kind of very Sadako Ring-esque vibes still, is a VHS. I'll be honest, the moment I saw it, I'm like, if anyone watches that VHS, are they going to die? Is this going to be the whole thing we're going to go through? Is we're going to have a 1-to-1 parallel? But we don't know that quite yet. We learn a little later on in the night, they had to go and find a VHS in production and so on. But we got a random VHS, y'all. So that's something to look forward to. Although we move to the next match, which was a pretty great tag team match between Alba and Isla, or Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Katana and Kaden Carter. We are seeing some good tag team women's wrestling. Of course, most people kind of get this transitional championship vibe from Alba and Isla. I won't say I'm completely on that board. I think they're actually quite cool and are quite a cool tag team, but we're getting them booked. That's the thing that matters, is we are getting women's tag teams on the actual card, which is what I can appreciate. Of course, Alba and Isla do continue to take this. Kate and Katana just kind of, they're doing their job. They're making other women look great. It pays the bills. But I didn't think that Alba was going to lose, or Alba and Isla are going to lose this match. They didn't, and they're going to keep their championships maybe up until Money in the Bank, maybe beyond that, who knows? But it was a pretty good match, and it actually showed up in the program. So thank you, Triple H. More women's wrestling, more tag team women's wrestling, please. They are actual championships. We need to see them on pay-per-views and on actual product. Directly after this, though, when Alba and Isla are celebrating their win, Damage Control shows up, attacks them. Of course, after Io said that changes need to be made, it seems that they might be being even more aggressive, and they do a complimentary beatdown on Isla and Alba, and it looks like maybe that's going to be maybe something that happens, is we're going to see the Kabuki Warriors without Asuka versus Alba and Isla. I don't know who's going to be. Maybe it's going to be Io and Kairi, or, some amount of Damage Control is going to end up fighting Alba and Isla at some point. But they were leading towards that. We'll see where that goes. So that all happens, right? That entire part of the event is kind of like there was a commercial break, bunch of pausing, a bunch of waiting, until finally we get back to the product. And in our second half, we see All Rise for the Outlaws. Damian Priest shows up, and I was like, okay, now who's coming out with Damian Priest? It's nobody. It's just him. He doesn't Judgment Day who? And he starts talking. He's seen the video that Seth put out, a well-produced video, showed some similarities between Seth and Damian, even though personally I don't see it. And you know what? Damian doesn't want to either. He hits Seth with, you might see some similarities between us, but I don't want there to be any, because you aren't a champion and I am a champion. You are the past and I am the present. Of course, Seth Rollins is not going to take that lying down. His music hits. We get our singing. We get our chanting. All rise for El Champion, but all sing for Seth Rollins. He comes out and they start talking back and forth. Seth is extremely confident that he is going to be able to win and get a good title opportunity against Damian Priest, which Damian Priest obliges. Again, just one of those things about Monday Night Raw right now, guys, is if you ask for a championship match, you'll get it. And so we are going to see Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest, and everything looks hunky-dory, and that's going to be the end of the segment when Imperium's music hits. Gunther's, specifically his music hits. Gunther walks out to the ring in his nice suit, as he always is, and simply says that it doesn't, he doesn't say it doesn't matter, but whoever wins this match, may it be a great match, but come SummerSlam, he will be champion. And of course, he has to remind everyone that he is the king of the ring. He is the ring general king of the ring. And no matter if it's Seth who has to fight him or Damian Priest, everything looks bad when you are fighting Gunther. So that is the end of that segment. And, I'm kind of agreeing with Gunther here. Gunther says it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter, y'all. I'm just saying, just a thought. Gunther's won everything else he says he's going to win. He'll probably win this one too. We then move and pivot. There's a VHS that has been decoded by Ringside and put into some VHS player. And we see a crazy clip. We see Bo Dallas talking to Uncle Howdy in an almost very creepy therapy session. And it's not just about anything. It's not some cryptic mumbo jumbo. It's very, very heartfelt. And it's about the loss of Wyndham Rotunda, his brother. They didn't drop him by name, but they're talking about his brother. Anyone who knows anything, if you don't, Wyndham Rotunda, his brother is Bo Dallas, and who is Uncle Howdy. So he's kind of talking, or at least we expect to be Uncle Howdy. We kind of know it is. So he's talking to himself, his persona, about the loss of his brother in a freaking riveting promo. Just a riveting promo. I've never seen such good promo action from him, and the creepy vibe fits. That's all I can say. If you need to look at one clip, if you're like, oh man, I only have really time for like 10 minutes, go watch the clip. It's all over YouTube. I think it's fantastic. The Wyatt Six has been fantastic. I wasn't here to review it during their debut. I'm a huge Bray Wyatt person. I'm a huge Wyndham Rotunda fan. And so watching, his dream be continued has been sick. And this VHS just continues that. We're starting to see maybe why we start getting some reasoning behind the Wyatt Six. We're starting to see that maybe it's because the brother feels like they underestimate him and they underestimate the faction, and they're a bunch of they have no purpose, and they're going to have a purpose. Very, heel hurt, very Bray Wyatt. We're going to continue that all the way down, but just fantastic promo. And after said fantastic video promo, we get the main event, or what would be main event, without what came following after the match with Awesome Truth and Judgment Day that was tacked in on the end, was Karrion Kross versus Kofi Kingston. The match goes on as normal. Karrion Kross gets some dominant offense. Kofi is able to, with the pop of the crowd, be able to start taking back the match until video cuts on and the Final Testament is attacking Kofi Kingston's boy. Which, of course, is a little surprising, but Kofi Kingston ain't having it. He starts trying to run. Who cares about the match? But Karrion Kross takes opportunity, absolutely nails Kingston. 1, 2, 3. Karrion Kross wins a match. Karrion Kross wins a match against a former world champion. Oh, man. The Final Testament might be going somewhere. And, I have to shout out everyone else on the podcast I'm probably the only Final Testament guy. I mean, you got some people over on Laying the Smackdown who are not the biggest Karrion Kross fans. My co-host, Brooke, is not usually the biggest Final Testament Karrion Kross, but I am. I'm a Karrion Kross guy. So he's getting his 5th and final chance. And finally, he gets to maybe win a match. We'll see where this whole New Day versus Final Testament thing's going, but it looks like this might be one of the first feuds that Karrion Kross is allowed to win in a year, and so maybe he'll be able to take that momentum and ride it to somewhere. Lord hope so. But we then move on to our now main event, the true main event that's been revealed, the Awesome Truth versus JD and Finn for the tag team champions. Of course, we've all seen this picture before. The Awesome Truth gets some pretty stellar offense. They're taking it to JD. They're taking it to Finn. It's definitely going to be one of those, the Judgment Day's out there to lose segments, until Liv Morgan shows up on ringside with the rest of the Judgment Day. And of course, you know that they're going to get involved. Carlito is able to keep the Judgment Day from losing. Dominic Mysterio is able to keep the Judgment Day from losing. And Liv Morgan's kind of just sitting there looking pretty until Braun Strowman, the big SOB, he's just an SOB this week because we do not have Pat McAfee, storms down, chases off Judgment Day like his full-time position is. I'm telling you, the man has done more cardio on outside the ring than inside the ring for like the last 2 months. It's been kind of hilarious. But he chases everyone away, but he doesn't chase away Liv Morgan. So as, Awesome Truth starts taking back the match, start getting, again, a dominant position to win, R-Truth's tagged in. It's going to be the match against Finn Balor. When Liv Morgan distracts R-Truth, gives him a big thank you for being in the match, gives him a hug, and then while the ref is distracted, snaps his neck down onto the ropes. R-Truth stumbles back into the sweetest drop kick from Finn Balor. Just an immediate dropkick right into the buckle, bumps off the buckle onto the ground. Finn sprints up the ropes, hits an amazing coup de grace, 1, 2, 3, and Raw ends with new tag team champions. The Judgment Day has gold again, not just Damian, but we have a large saturation of gold on the Judgment Day, including, at the very end, Liv Morgan raises her women's championship, and the Judgment Day goes along with it. At least Finn and JD do. So, Liv's convincing him, y'all. I mean, I don't know, has Liv convinced you? Because it seems that was enough for JD and Finn. We'll see what Dominic's going to do, but things are interesting on Raw, y'all. Things are interesting. We've got Drew, who didn't quit. We've got a pretty stacked Money in the Bank card. We've got the Wyatt 6 shenanigans that's slowly building. We've got, unfortunately, the end of the hilarity of the R-Truth title reign. But we now have the next chapter in the Judgment Day. What's going to happen? Who knows? Is Damian Priest going to have to leave? Is Liv Morgan going to join? We won't know till next week. And when you see me next week, here at the Raw Take, I'll be giving you all the coverage. Until next time, y'all. Peace out.